Last year is supposed to be a horrible year for the stock market. Back in March 2020, we all witnessed how the stock markets dipped by the 30%. Most people were afraid to invest because no one was confident about tomorrow. The crisis that was in front of us was unlike anything else. It wasn't a mortgage crisis like in 2008 or the bubble like in 2000s. It was something that we couldn't see, and yet it just stopped the world economy overnight. We had no idea when it will be over, or at least when life would get back to normal. But it seems like it's never going back to normal. We are just going to have the new normal. But what we know for sure is that the market didn't crash. At least the Fed didn't allow it. Like it always does, the Fed got out its printing machines and started printing dollars like there is no tomorrow. But it was unlike any other cases. The Fed printed unbelievable amount of the money to keep the economy running, even though most people were stuck at home. So the stock market instantly jumped back to its pre-crisis level, and S&P 500 was up by the 18%. That is incredibly high. 18% for the S&P 500 means it's one of the best years it ever had. But 80% compared to other stocks is almost nothing. Apple's was up by the 80%, Amazon rose 73%, and some stocks in Tesla rose by the few hundred percent. Anyone had the opportunity to double their savings in a single year. It took you 10 years to save that much money, and in less than a year you could have doubled it. Some people did that, but others missed the opportunity. However, that doesn't mean there aren't going to be more opportunities this year. As far as I see it, the stock market is going to keep rising this year. Another stimulus bill is one in horizon, and Fed doesn't seem like it will stop printing money anytime soon, which could increase the inflation rate. But that's something we will discuss in another video. Here in this video, I'm going to share with you three stocks that I believe will do great this year. I have personally invested into them, so if you are ready, give this video a thumbs up because that's what algorithms wants you to do. Just click on it and let's get right into it. If you follow my stock suggestions on Patreon, you know that I invested in Disney last year in September. First, Disney back when the stocks was struggling since the pandemic forced its then park is shut down and put the risk to entire business models. I decided to invest in because Disney is a unique company. It owns the rights for all of your favorite fictional characters, but it wasn't taking the best advantage out of them. So when Disney released its CEO, when the new CEO decided to take the company in the completely different directions, instead of focusing on them parks and the material assets, it shifted its focus on online streaming services to compare with Netflix. Last September, it had around 33 million paid subscribers, which is a lot. According to the arguments I brought forward, Disney has everything it needs to increase that numbers by at least 10 times. We all grew up watching Pixar, Mickey Mouse, Marvel's Heroes, and Star Wars, and Disney owns all the rights for these fictional characters. All that is left for it to do is to take full advantage of them, which it started doing last year. Guess how many paid subscribers it has now? Over 95 million. That's almost 100 million subscribers. And since the pandemic is not over a year, Disney is going to pour more resource into the Disney Plus. It's entirely possible that Disney is going to have around the same number of the paid subscribers as Netflix has today in the year or so, which is around 350 million, which is why I think Disney stocks will keep rising this year as well. I know that Disney is not as exciting as Tesla, but it's a safe investment that has a huge potential to grow. If it doubles its numbers of the paid subscribers with this year, it's entirely possible to that its stock price would rise by at least 50%. And that's not speculations. It's based on the facts and numbers. The second stocks that I believe is going to have the great years is Airbnb. If you are one of our patrons, you know that I have invested in the Airbnb recently. Airbnb shortly after moving to the San Francisco in October 2007, roommates and former schoolmates Brian Chesky and Joy Gabian came up with the idea of the putting an air mattress in their living room and turning it into the bed and breakfast. Yes, its original name Air Bed Breakfast. Thanks God they changed the name. Otherwise, this idea wouldn't have worked. That simple idea has now put upside down the entire tourism industry. No one thought it's going to work because strangers will never stay in each other's homes, but it turns out that absolutely wrong. Why waste a fortune on hotels when you can stay in the similarly good place for fractions of the price? The idea was save money when traveling, make money when hosting, and share culture. It doesn't get much simpler than that. Airbnb has become the verb like we use Google when we say search for something online, Uber instead of the car or a taxi. That does not mean it's going to be more successful, but certainly puts Airbnb on the good spots and illustrates the power of its brand. Airbnb, like other social media companies, benefits from the network effects. The bigger the network, the more difficult it gets compared with. For example, if you are using Facebook because all of your friends are there, the moment they leave, Facebook services will propose. The same goes to Airbnb. If all homeowners are listing their homes in Airbnb, most people will use Airbnb by default, which has already happened. But besides just offering a place, just Airbnb is also focused on the experience, which are really a huge part of Airbnb, but could be even bigger. It could launch services such as the purchasing properties, getting the mortgage, and many more. But that's going to be in the future, I guess. Airbnb has the opportunity to become the tech giant like Google or the Amazon, and in the years to come, it has to prove it. The third stock that I believe has great potential is Fiverr. Fiverr, I'm not a big fan of Fiverr, but recently I have started using it more and more. From February 2020 to February 2021, the Fiverr stocks grew by almost 1,000%. Yes, you heard that right. By 1,000%. Unfortunately, I didn't invest in it back then because I didn't see that coming. Everyone can complain about the pandemic, but not Fiverr because it was the best year in the company's history. Even Tesla didn't grow but that much. The biggest might not see the benefits of Fiverr because they have all the money they need to hire the best talented. However, when it comes to the small business, hiring even a single person is super difficult. Making sure they get paid is way more difficult than it seems, and Fiverr makes that process a lot easier. First of all, no one gets paid unless they get the job done. Secondly, you are not hiring anyone full time, and thirdly, you can hire people across the world where labor cost is a lot cheaper than in your country. The stock price might not grow by the additional 1000% this year or even next year, but that doesn't mean that it has no room to grow future. In January 2020, Fiverr had 2.4 million buyers and a little over 800,000 sellers. It couldn't find the data for the 2020, but the pandemic has clearly made Fiverr much more popular. And not only that, its total revenue has been growing year after year to $400 million by the 2019. The average bills has increased from the $34 to $170 by the end of the 2018. Let's face it, the pandemic is not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, the vaccine is going to make it a lot easier, but the virus is going to mutate and keep circulating among us. This means that the number of the freelancers will just keep growing. The numbers of people who ill decide to work from home will keep rising. Based on the current circumstances, Fiverr will probably keep growing this year and in the next few years as well. Its biggest obstacles is probably high commission fees, since the competitors can come in and drag some of its customers with lower commissions. However, as Fiverr grows, it starts taking advantage of the network effect. It could become the place for freelancers, and if that happens, its valuations could very well grow by a few times. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, give this thumbs up for the YouTube algorithms, and if you are the new around here, then subscribe and turn on your notifications. We are trying our best to make the great videos for you and hopefully help you achieve your financial goals. Thanks for watching, and until next time.